All right. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to No Sports Dynasty. I am your host, and all of a sudden my phone decided to go off right when I did that. I am your host, Andrew Fulbert, not joined with my co-host today. He is currently battling the COVID. He's doing really, really good. Texted me this morning, said, just a reminder that I'm not on. I said, I got you. He is just resting, making sure that he can get back to this next week. He really did not want to miss week one, but he cannot really talk. So remember to give out your thoughts and prayers to Mr. Alex Loosemore today. Speaking of thoughts and prayers, let's get the elephant out of the room. Today is also September 11th. This is the day of mourning. It's not exactly a day that I would like to do a show. Don't like to do days like this, but I always pay the respects to the men and the women who dealt with the tragic events of 9/11 20 years ago to the day. So we'll keep all of them in your thoughts and prayers to all those families and all the people who had to deal with that tragedy 20 years ago. To all my American friends, I salute you, and I hope that today can be a little bit uplifting in some ways while we remember those who lost their lives due to the tragic events of 9/11. That being said, today, I'm going to try and brighten your day a little bit with a little talk of the fantasy football. We are going to get into it. We finally have some games. We finally have some things to actually talk about here. We're going to get into the sits and starts for the games per team. Oh, I just need my coffee. Per team this upcoming weekend. You got my little take there earlier this week about the Bucs and what to do and all throughout the whole offseason. And then we're just going to talk about, dynasty over redraft, keeper over dynasty. We're going to talk about the good platforms that you can pick from later on after the show, because we do have another dynasty group getting set up. It is halfway full. We're going to do 12 people. And we're looking for more people who want to join. Remember, dynasty just means once you do that draft, you keep those players until you drop those players. Speaking of drop a like and a comment and a share for the show today. Wherever you are across the world, I appreciate you tuning in. It's not too much on the docket today because I don't like to do anything without my co-host, but we are getting into some fantasy football and we need to update you guys on that. First things first, we had a game. And it was the Buccaneers versus the Cowboys. And oh my goodness gracious, what a game that was. 31-29. People who had Prescott or were offered Prescott on many different platforms for trades, even like myself. There's certain things that were question marks, like that shoulder and that ankle. He didn't rush for too many yards, but he was of fantasy relevance. For example, in our league, which I am going to pull up here, he did go off for, I do believe, 40 points. I just want to make sure exactly how much our good friend, 27.42 is what he got for that 403, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception game. Thought he would have gotten a little bit more, but it looks like he didn't. But Antonio Brown went off for 23.7 points. I'm eating my words on it. I said he probably wouldn't have any fantasy relevance. And now I'm not. I don't care what anybody says. I'm not trading for him. I'm not. Okay? I'm not. Because what will happen is I'll even try to trade for him. And someone will screenshot it and be like, look at Andrew's actually now trading for Buccaneers, but he said he would never do it. And now he's doing it. What a guy. Yeah, I'm not dealing with that. I'm not going to put up with that game or anything like that. But it was really cool to see Antonio Brown actually go off, because in a couple of leagues, he is just available on the waiver wire. So people are just going to pick him up off the waiver wire and enjoy. The other thing was, this game saw the running back situation for Tampa Bay really come into light. There's not too much value. Leonard Fournette, I believe, only got 10 points. That's good for a flex position in the middle of the season if you need somebody to just put in. That's not a consistent thing to do. Same thing with Rojo. In one league, I got offered, I think, it was Rojo, a third and a fourth round pick in the other dynasty that I'm in for David Montgomery. And I shut that thing down real quick. Nothing. Not even a modified trade request. Nothing. It was like, I'm not giving up David Montgomery for Rojo. The only reason I asked for Rojo is because I thought I can get him at a discount price. I don't keep him on my bench. Any injuries that happen, obviously, he would get the grunt of the work, but I'm not trading for Rojo anymore. And if you have Rojo, keep him on your bench. Something can happen later on. If you have Fournette, keep him on your bench. Something can happen later on. But the one thing I wanted to come in and talk about with the Buccaneers quick here, if you don't have Giovanni Bernard, I would grab him right now, and I would just stash him on your bench. It might sound dumb, and if you don't have the bench spot to do it, don't do it. But you need to. This seems, after game one here, the Buccaneers might start considering going a different direction when it comes to running back. I said last night on the pop-up show for the cheap seats, which you can check out on Bucs Report and on No Sports Dynasty, I said that if we were to go the veteran route in the cornerback situation for the Buccaneers, they probably would go back for the veteran running back like Adrian Peterson. And if Adrian Peterson can do the first and second downs by himself and Giovanni Bernard can come in for the third downs, then what's the point of even having Rojo and Fournette, right? It just makes sense. In this case, if you have Rojo and Fournette, keep them on your bench. Go get Bernard. It sounds dumb. It may seem really stupid just to keep 3 bench spots on one team's running backs. But that also being said, you don't want someone to pick him up in a flex position when some injuries may happen, or we know that someone's going to get consistent starts. You don't want to be left hanging on that. So you're either going to have to be in or out. And I think it's going to be fully now. Personally, I would go after Giovanni Bernard, but I can't, it's hard. So it's very hard not to see the correlation between what happened at the end of the game there. So Christopher Cole says, hey, what's up, Andrew? Good to tune in today. Shared for you. Teresa, thank you very much. Dog it. Johnny Dean, thank you for tuning in. I left Brown on my bench. I'm still not convinced he would be starting in my league, though. Just too many wide receivers and other options there for me just to put him in there yet. So that's the thing. I also agree. Problem is, though, 22 points on a bench is so bad to look at. The only reason I have 23 points on my bench in the one league there is because I made the decision between CeeDee Lamb and Chris Godwin right before this game. And to be honest, any one of those decisions would have been perfectly okay. The only difference, literally, from what... Oh, I grabbed the wrong app there. Sorry. The only difference between the two players, and I'm going to double check it here, was 0.10 points. And I believe that was Chris Godwin over CeeDee Lamb. And I'm going to check it right here. So in the PPR league, we had Chris Godwin at 23.5 and CeeDee Lamb at 23.4. Yeah, so it was a 0.1 difference. That's it. And I got Godwin off of the waiver wire in this league. So now all of a sudden I'm looking at a situation where I have too many wide receivers and I have a very good selection of running backs. And I think I'm just going to, in this league, I think I'm just going to keep it. Because in certain leagues, you want to keep points on your bench to obviously prevent other players and other people from getting them. I've seen that happen and come back and bite me in the butt way too many times. The big one being a guy named Dan Arnold, who is the tight end for the Carolina Panthers. Great productivity last year, even the year before, because he was coming in as a tight end and a wide receiver. It was actually nice to have. Those guys have value because you can place them in different spots. You can utilize that every week. The issue is now, for me, in the offseason, I had too many tight ends, and he wasn't necessarily dedicated to be the number one, where I believe he was in Washington. And then he went to Carolina, and even then I didn't think he was necessarily designated to be the number one. But then he slowly started to become. They got a young guy in there, and they still got the guy that they had before. but it looks like Sam Darnold has made some connection with him. So that's one of those where I've screwed up. It happens. In Dynasty, that's going to happen. But also in Dynasty, things that you can do is make trades or find value on the free agency waiver wire that can either help your team or help you in a trade. For example, one thing that I like to do in the offseason is do a waiver wire pickup, knowing that some other people are a little bit thin at, say, the running back position, wide receiver position, so on and so forth, or grabbing the backup to their number one all-star. So, for example, in a league, I went and grabbed for free the backup running back to the New Orleans Saints. That guy really, really wanted him. So we made a trade package, which now brought me Kadarius Toney. I believe a first-round pick was involved in that going my way as well. And James Conner, because I needed another running back. That's value. That's absolute value. Especially in Dynasty, you can make those trades. In a normal league, you can't do that. People wouldn't take the bite. But in Dynasty, it helps. It does. Dallas OC had a good game plan, quick throws and stuff. Mike McCarthy, or that would be Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore had a great game. And Kellen Moore might actually be a great head coach one day. So going to watch out for him being taken by somebody else. I mean, Dan Quinn is also down there too. If Mike McCarthy can get that thing rolling pretty good, that team is going to look good. Johnny also said, who are you dropping to add Geo? Now, depending on in your leagues, if you are thin, because some people will draft, some people have gotten injury problems, and depending on how your waiver wire goes on some of your leagues, some of them you can just instantly go to your free agents and pick up a guy and add him to your bench the second that you hear any news. Those ones I don't mind. We do Fab and ours, so you'll have to do an auction. We actually just had an issue last night because of, we'll not say miscommunication or anything like that, but we got to do a vote actually in the chat today, which I am going to put through there. So any of the guys who are watching this from the Dynasty League that we're in, just know that we are going to have a vote that's going to be popping up into the chat right after the show. We also lost my train of thought here because I saw some of the comments there, but there's only so many bench spots that you have, okay? With some of these players and some of the situations that are going on around the league, especially like with Giovanni Bernard, if you're a team that is thin at any position and you can afford to just drop a player, I would do it. And just add Giovanni Bernard, because there may come a situation after, say, week 6 or 7 that if we can't get the running backs to figure it out, they may just go a different route. They did it last year. It's supposed to be Rojo. Now we're doing Fournette. Now we're doing Fournette again, or doing Rojo again, and then we're doing Fournette again, and then blah, 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 blah. We just need to figure it out. The Bucs are going to figure it out. It's hard to look at the fantasy value as a whole. It really is. But we are trying, okay? I'm still telling you guys not to pick them up, or if you're going to pick them up, you got to pick up all 3 at this point, I would say. But if you can afford to just pick up Giovanni Bernard and stash him on your bench, I would. And just get him out of the way from everybody else. Now, some of these other games here I want to get into. The startums and situms for some of the other games across the league. Starting with the Jags and the Texans. I'll give you 1 start and 1 sit for each team. I'm going to start with the Jaguars. 1 start. If you have them, get Laviska Shenault Jr. out on your roster. I don't know how much he's necessarily going to put up, because he is technically the 3rd stringer. They still got DJ Chark and they got Marvin Jones. But Laviska is a utility weapon that I've been talking about over and over again on this platform and on our show. Laviska can run the ball. He may grab a couple of carries like that, and he will be targeted over and over again in the short yardage. If you are in a PPR league, which most of the time we talk about here on this platform, that is somebody you're going to want to target, because Trevor Lawrence doesn't have his safety blanket. And James Robinson wasn't the greatest at catching the balls in the backfield last year, though he did. Wasn't the greatest, but he did it. I think one of those safety blankets you'll be looking for is that utility weapon in Laviska Shenault. One person you'll want to sit in this one is actually probably Trevor Lawrence himself. The reason I say that, with any rookie quarterback around here right now, week ones, I refuse to sit, okay? Or I refuse to start any rookie quarterback unless I'm forced to by injury. The reason is because you absolutely don't know what's going to happen. So with Trevor Lawrence, he could throw 1 touchdown. He could have 204 yards, but he could also throw 3 picks. It's the reality of it. He has to get real NFL reps in. And this is a division rival who played each other, whether it's a new coaching system or not. They've played each other. They know these bodies. They know the players on the other side. So maybe keep Trevor Lawrence on your bench just for a little bit longer. Now, on the Texans side, the one guy that I would start across the board, Brandon Cooks. It's pretty much an easy one here. Get Brandon Cooks on your roster, because if Tyrod Taylor is going to throw it to any number one, that seems to be the only number one that they do have. Yeah, they got Danny Amendola, and they got a guy named Nico Collins, who is a really good Michigan product, but it's not enough. This team is probably going to lose, though, in the betting, which I will drop down below here. All my picks for the weekend are right there. I had a horrible night yesterday in betting. I'm not even going to lie. I am not even going to lie to you. I have had some really great nights that I've been proud of throughout this whole season and this whole process. Last night was absolutely horrible. I went 1 win and 7 losses. So 1 for 8 or 1 for 7 last night. That's not good. That's unacceptable. These right here are all lines that I think are good enough to win me some money tonight. These are also some bets that I've had going for a while. Okay. Especially that Arizona-Tennessee one. Take some of these with a grain of salt. I need to get back into proving myself to you, the fans, when it comes to betting. So please take most of these with a grain of salt. Know that my 2 college ones are pretty much locked. I like those. And if they lose, I'm done. But those are the bets down below. The one sit for the Texans, that defense. If you think that the Texans defense is going to go off on Trevor Lawrence and like pick him off and the forced fumbles and stuff like that, please, I can agree with you with the interceptions. It can fall into anybody's hands, but forced fumbles and fumble recoveries and holding the Jaguars under, say, 9 points is who the hell do they got? Take 2 seconds to tell me who the Houston Texans have on defense. Vernon Hargraves? And who else? Exactly. Sit that Texans defense and really Tyrod Taylor. But a lot of people have come out and suggested that the Texans could be a sleeper pick or a defense. And I'm like, yeah, if you want to have a negative in the first week, you go right ahead. It's a slow rumor I've heard, and I don't want none of it. Seahawks at Colts. Sit them. Tyler Lockett. I've not drafted Tyler Lockett in almost any league. There's a reason for that. He is a number 1 wide receiver, but last year he had 2 zeros on that board. I want none of that. No zeros on the board, please, and thank you. Start him, though. Go Russell, buddy. Go Russell. If you got a quarterback, I know it's the Colts defense. I'm completely understanding that that's the Colts defense. Russell Wilson still needs to eat. And he's proven usually at the beginning of the seasons that he can do a pretty damn good. It's when you get towards the end of the season that he slows down a little bit and gets a little bit more consistent. So I would run Russell Wilson for a little bit there. The Colts, though, the sit-ems, do not start Carson Wentz. He's coming back from an injury. We know that the possibility is going to be great, but let's wait a couple of weeks to see if he actually gets the progressions going before we put the horse ahead of the stable, or however the line goes. One person I will say to start in this, Michael Pittman. Yeah, the guy who refused to give him the jersey. Who cares? Michael Pittman is going to be the number 1 target in Indianapolis. Mark my words this year. I am sticking to that. The other one I got here, sorry. Jets and Panthers. I'll start them. Oh, man. That's so hard. Phrasing. I'll start him for the Jets. I would probably go Denzel Mims. It's hard to say, really. I don't want to give you guys a Michael Carter or anything like that. We still need to see what is going to happen, but I would take one of those wide receivers. And if I was going to take one of them, I would take Denzel Mims because he would probably get the opportunities as the second or third option. Sit him. Do not start Zach Wilson. Like I said, rookie quarterbacks. I don't want any part of that. With the Panthers, though, I sit him. I do not want to see DJ Moore necessarily just yet. If he is your number one wide receiver, you're going to be forced to put him out there. But here's my thing. Robbie Anderson is in town now with Sam Darnold, who had a great chemistry against this very team that they're about to play. I have a weird suspicion that Robbie Anderson will probably be a very big target. Okay. Maybe more so than DJ Moore just in this game. You might have a Mike Evans situation going on. I, however, think that the big one in this for the stardom, you got to go with, because you're sitting Zach Wilson. You're sitting DJ Moore. You have to start Sam Darnold. I am not even going to lie to you. Sam Darnold is playing against a team that let him go. If he has any ability to be a great quarterback whatsoever, it's going to show up tomorrow. Hands down. He was traded away for basically scraps, essentially, to a team that he has no control over, and to a team that is willing to trade him for a dude that they don't even know if he's going to pass a court date. Man is pissed. I would be taking him all day. Give me Sam Darnold. Going on to the next game here. We got Vikings and Bengals. I sit them for the Bengals. Do not start Kirk Cousins. I understand that the Bengals defense might be really, really bad still, but I have faith in it being a high-scoring game. I just don't have faith in Kirk Cousins being able to do good in the first game of the season. That's just my honest opinion. I would avoid Kirk Cousins just for a little bit until you can see consistency, because they also drafted a quarterback in the second round or third round in Kellen Mond. So I would take that. Now, on the other side of it, you start Dalvin Cook. That's basically a given. I don't really need to go into any other details besides should be your number one drafted running back. That's my number one drafted running back this year. The Bengals, do not start Jamar Chase. Not just because of the drops, not because of everything he's been saying, not because of the production as a whole or his attitude in training camp. It's all of that mixed in with the fact that everyone knows he is going to try, Joe Burrow is going to try and throw to Jamar Chase. So everybody is going to be covering Jamar Chase. So that's why in this case, I would actually start T. Higgins for a bit. Until Jamar Chase gets consistency, T. Higgins is probably going to go off just like he did last year. Joe Burrow is going to go off. Joe Burrow is absolutely going to go off. Just like Adam Padermo Rivera said here. Burrow is in my start. I have him in one Dynasty league, and I would do that as well. The other game, I got everything located everywhere. Next game, Arizona and the Titans. So for Arizona, sit him, James Conner. I am forced to in the league to just run James Conner for a little bit. It looks intriguing because he's going there and this offense is an air raid and this, that, and everything else. But look what happened to Ezekiel Elliott against with the Cowboys there. I don't want you guys to have the same problem. Okay? If you have a different running back, take a different running back. But don't put James Conner in there until we see what he can do. Who I would put in there, obviously, is Kyler Murray. I didn't want to have to give him up in my Dynasty League, but I knew I had Tom Brady for at least one more, maybe 2 more years. But I got Tom Brady for at least 1 more year in at what we would call elite status on the bench. I'm not going to let those points go. So I traded Kyler. I got 2 running backs. And then I used parts of that trade to go get another running back. Now I have a stable of running backs, and that may not be all the greatest running backs, but I went from the worst team in the league to, oh shit, Andrew's coming. And I love doing that. Phrasing again. The start and sit-ems. The sit-ems for the Titans. Don't start Julio. Just wait. Just wait. Just wait. Alex Dado may speak otherwise on it, and whatever he would have to say on that, I would totally understand and I would totally respect. The Cardinals are making a run on this defense for a reason. They're doing everything possible to make this defense really, really good because they know the division that they're in and they know the other defenses they have to play. I think they got better. And I think Isaiah Simmons has proven that in the preseason and in camp. I think they're going to go to block Julio, allowing A.J. Brown and Derrick Henry to eat. And that's going to be the advantage for the Tennessee Titans all year. I would start A.J. Brown. I would start A.J. Brown almost every opportunity you get until there's some favorable matchups coming through that you cannot just possibly get over there. The 49ers and the Lions, sit them. Don't start Garoppolo. Just wait. And I'm even going to add into that, do not start Deebo Samuel either. If you have to, I get it. You do what you got to do. Deebo's coming off of an injury, and he's not consistently healthy on the field. So you might have to just wait a little bit to see what he's going to do. The stardom, though, what I would do, start Trey Sermon. Raheem Mostert and Trey Sermon might just see number 1 and number 2 the whole game. And when they start seeing the flashes of what Trey Sermon can actually do, they might just utilize him a little bit more towards the end of the game, especially with the Lions having a depleted offense or defense. Trey Sermon I traded for, and I gave up a little bit, but he's looking like he's going to be a good value pick for a lot of people. So I would start Trey Sermon. With the Lions, though, don't start DeAndre Swift. We're not going to talk about the rumors that are going online because there's a lot of rumors online about a lot of people. But if that's true, that's going to be a mentality thing that you're not going to want to be starting. However, one that I would start, I'm not going to lie, I would start Amon-Ra St. Brown. This is one that Alex would be proud of me for saying. They do have a couple other wide receivers there, but Jared Goff does love that slot. Oh, does he ever love that slot position? And Amon-Ra St. Brown is currently slated to be there, and he is the better of the wide receivers on that class. I would take that all day, every day. And good luck trying to get him in any league if you have Alex. Alex has already taken him and considered him his own baby. So the Steelers and the Bills. Sit-ems for the Steelers. Don't start any of the wide receivers if you can. Man, that's a hard one for me to say. Do not start any Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver if you can. If you have to, put him in the flex position. Don't have him as your number 1. The reason I say this is because the stardom is Najee Harris. Ben is coming back and he's healthy and everybody's all coming in to have this little Pittsburgh let's go for it and stuff. And I don't necessarily personally think that's going to happen, but this is a flex. Mike Tomlin is really, really good. Mike Tomlin has also been has been heard saying to Chase Young, I don't ever want to draft high enough to get a guy like you. Damn right, I wouldn't either. But in this day and age in football, sometimes players just fall to your lap because of the draft position and because other players or other teams have other needs. If the Cardinals would have had Najee Harris, I would have said the Cardinals would have been an ultimate team. Big Ben is just going to literally give Najee Harris the ball this whole game. This whole game. So I would start him before I would start any wide receiver. You're going to have the Mike Evans effect all the way through. That honest opinion. And it's not because I hate Mike Evans or anything like that. Like some of the other fans, leave him the fuck alone. If you honestly come at Mike Evans for the first game of the season, you're not a fucking fan. You're a bandwagon hopper, and you can start hopping off here. You're dumb. The guy is taking more pay cuts than you probably ever had at your job. If you're asked to take a fucking $10 pay cut for 2 hours of your day so that everybody can have a damn, let's say like a barbecue or something like that, you'd be like, no, I need the money for that. So shut the fuck up. Honestly, don't come at Mike Evans for anything. Mike Evans is the best thing that's ever happened to the Buccaneers besides Tom Brady. And since, I don't know, sliced fucking bread. This is, I guess, the mini rant that I'm just going to pop off here. Okay. Honestly, I understand that Twitter and social media is just a cesspool of just people being fucking idiots sometimes. But the very fact that I've seen some of our beloved fans that we know and we follow every single day on Twitter and social media go out there and have the fucking audacity to state that we should get rid of Mike Evans if this is the way that our offense is going to be. Are you fucking kidding me? Have you ever actually watched a fucking game? Have you ever watched football in your entire stupid life? Have you ever left the basement and actually gotten hit in the goddamn head so hard you went back into the basement and thought football was still back in the damn 60s? Mike Evans is the best thing that's ever happened to this damn squad. Even before Brady got here. Leadership, ability. Man's got some of the best catches in the world. The one highlight reel catch that he's got is because Winston threw that ball 10 feet too high in the fucking air, and he still came down with it. And you want to talk about how Mike Evans ain't shit about the Buccaneers no more. You're pathetic. Pathetic. If you honestly think Mike Evans is anything but great. He can sit there and catch 3 passes for 30 yards all fucking season, and he would still be the greatest Buccaneer wide receiver of all time. He would still have better and consistent years than Antonio Brown ever did with us. Or even with the Steelers. Don't come at our fucking boy ever again for one mishap game. Because you haven't seen football in so long and you want to go at the only thing that's really sitting there. You got Cowgirl fans crying about a possible push-off, which if you want to see my take on it, go watch the show last night. It's no push-off. And we got a highlight reel that a Buccaneer fan did of all the holds that you did all game. Don't do that. Don't do that. You don't put Mike Evans in no fan-base doghouse. You don't put Mike Evans in your fucking tweet with anything but love and respect for what he's done for this organization. You don't ever put Mike Evans' name on fucking social media without putting Go Bucks, Champa Bay, and pay cuts in order for you fans to fucking enjoy it. And me. So to the rest of us who enjoy Mike Evans and know exactly what he's done for this organization, props to all of us fans. Cheers to us. Continue on with our fucking day. But to all the rest of you, if you see these dumbass fans going on social media talking shit about Mike Evans, unfollow those sons of a bitches. Block those sons of a bitches because we got 2 people especially that need to be ousted from our fan base. No more splitting our fan base about no more bullshit. Winston's gone. Let's get that guy the hell out of here. And we also got the maniacs. Get him the fuck out of here. These are guys who are just splitting us, okay? Mike Evans is a god. Mike Evans is the best thing that's ever happened to this team since sliced fucking bread. Don't ever think otherwise. Pathetic fans thinking we should get rid of him. Get the fuck out of here. And I apologize to all the Bucks Report people. Saturdays, I do get a little bit of, I guess they say a free pass on my show to swear just a couple of times. So you try to keep it down to maybe like the rants and stuff like that. So I do apologize. Anybody who may have been driving with their kids being like, sorry, my apologies. Try to keep that at a nice place for you. My apologies. But I think maybe some of you may have turned it up and like, no, kids, listen. You little TikTok dancer kids think you know what the fuck you're talking about with football. Listen to this guy. This guy hasn't even been to Raymond James Stadium. You've been able to watch games your whole entire fucking life with Giant fans sitting behind you and stuff like that, and you want to sit there and have the audacity to talk about Mike Evans? Guy sits in his fucking basement, can't even come to the States because of a fucking pandemic, and he's got more sense on his head than you do. No more shit about Mike Evans. Fuck out of here with that talk. All right. I want to see if I offended anybody on that one. Adam laughed at it. Thank you, Adam. Fuck fans who hate on Evans. I agree. Hashtag that, Johnny. Thank you. Upset that Arians bench Rojo. That's all. He might be behind Bernard. Rojo's in Arians' doghouse. That's fair. That's totally fair. I hope you weren't thinking I was coming at you at all, Adam. I don't know if you said anything on social media or anything about Evans or something like that. It's only about the people going at Evans. The Rojo hate, I can understand it and not say appreciate it, but it's one of those things like, no, it kind of needs to happen. I want him to get more pissed off and take that motivation and become what Leonard did last year. That's personally me. Christopher Cole said, preach it, buddy. Thank you. I apologize if anybody around you heard that. I really do. I try not to swear too much when I'm on the Bucks Report. I platform unless I'm doing my show. And even on my show, I try to keep it for the Reds rant. Because as you see, I can get really emotional when I get into these rants sometimes. So hashtag Reds rant. Fuck people that say that play from God was a push off. No, dude, it's straight up. I said that last night, technically by the rule, honestly by the rule. And I'm not trying to say this as like a Homer or a Brady supporter, like I said last night. This to here is not a push off. This is a push off, not a push off, push off, not a push off, push off. If this right here is a push off, then what I said last night is Michael Jordan's shot against Utah to win it shouldn't count. That's the way it is. That's the way it is. Nowhere is it even near the same magnitude that shot was compared to this catch. But you know what I'm saying, right? And fuck the fans who don't love Reds. I appreciate you guys. Let's get right back into some of these matchups here. For the Bills, though, for the Steelers and Bills matchup here, for the Bills, don't start any of their running backs, man. It's the same issue that we're kind of having here in Tampa Bay. They got 2 and they want to run 2, but we don't know. Like Zach Moss was really, really good and then had a couple games where it was like, Same with Devin Singletary. He was mad, but then he started to kind of crawl back up. And Singletary has the pass catching ability. So just wait a little bit on the running backs for the Bills. But I would start all day, every day. Josh Allen. There we go. I was like their quarterback. Start Josh Allen. That guy is going to get you probably 6 points rushing it in just himself. So touchdown machine, yard machine. He's got the targets now with Stephon Diggs. He's got help. That's all he's ever needed. So I would go there. The Eagles and the Falcons. With the Eagles, don't start Jalen Hurts, obviously. Got to see what he is first. A lot of people are saying, well, it's the running capability. I saw what he did last year too. But I don't think Cesario, I believe is the head coach, his name there, is going to necessarily let him run that much. I think they're going to try and make him pass it a little bit more. But I would start Devontae Smith. Like I said about the Jacksonville thing with Laviska Shenault Jr., Devontae Smith may actually come in and be another utility weapon. You might get some short catches. You might be like that safety blanket besides Miles Sanders. So I would start him. With the Falcons, do not start. And I'm going to get a lot of flack for this one. Don't start Kyle Pitts. If you start Kyle Pitts and he screws up, which he can if he looks like, Micah Parsons did for the Dallas Cowboys, a lot of people are going to put him on the bench week 2 and week 3, and they're just going to trade him away for some stupid value that people are going to, consider robbery. I've seen it happen so many times, and it's going to happen again. Just sit him for now. Unless you drafted him to be the only tight end that you have on your team, and I understand you got to start him, sure. But if you have another tight end that is still going to get you at least maybe 8 to that 10-point range, I would start them. Leave Kyle Pitts on your bench just for the week until you can see what happens. If he goes off for a lot of points and they have the double coverage on him, then you know what? You've only done it for 1 week and you can enjoy the progression after that. The one person I would start, though, is Calvin Ridley. Number 1 wide receiver this year. My ultimate vote. I said my number 1 was going to be Dalvin Cook. My number 1 is going to be Calvin Ridley for running back and wide receiver. And that's the way I still feel about both of them. I would start Calvin Ridley all day, every day, every game, even when he gets the double coverage. The man is like a young Julio. Who is going to stop young Julio? That was really bad, too. Browns and Chiefs. Okay, so with the Browns, I would start, obviously, the running backs. That makes sense. But I would start Jarvis Landry. They may throw a few times when they need to. And with Odell there, the Chiefs might go after him a little bit more. But Jarvis, even in coverage last year as the number 1, proved that he can make the break, proved that he can get separation. So I would take him right now, and I would sit Odell Beckham. Wait till Odell Beckham is fully back healthy to see what he is going to be for you this season. Just wait. Just wait on him. A lot of people have tried to use him as trade bait use his name as the big thing. I think that's starting to lose its grace, but you might be able to get some value from him later. I just don't think it's going to be right now. The Chiefs, on the other hand, this is a difficult one because I'm in the middle. Start and sit is basically like I right in the middle. You can start and sit CEH. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, man, if he was a Buccaneer, holy shit, that's all I wanted. I wanted him to be a Buc, and I'm happy that we got who he did the year before. I'm drawing a blank on that, but I'm not gonna lie. I wouldn't start CEH just yet because I think that Patrick Mahomes is going to have to pass it a little bit more, and he hasn't proven himself yet. I think the Chiefs will use some of their gimme games to kind of get CEH going a little bit more, even though he had 1,000 yards. And you start Travis Kelce every chance that you get this year. That's the number one thing you start on the Chiefs, unless even when there is a bad matchup. Kelce is still the number one answer for the Chiefs all day, every day. And you start Kelce. I love that matchup. A couple more games here left. We got 5 more games to go through. We got the Packers and the Saints. On the Packers, I wouldn't start Aaron Jones if you have another 2 running backs that you can use, just because I think that they might actually pass a little bit more in this game just to get Rodgers back in motion. And I would start Aaron Rodgers if you have him. I think him and Devontae Adams are going to tear up the defense. I think they're going to want to do that quickly to enable Jameis Winston to throw more because they know that the inconsistencies that can happen there. So on the Saints, I wouldn't start Jameis Winston. And a lot of people are going to say, you're a hater. Nope. No, I'm not a hater. I'm just a guy who wants to win you guys some championship leagues here. All right? Don't put Winston in just yet, especially against the Packers team. If they're going to get ahead, they're going to make him throw. He's going to throw some picks. And people who's got the Packers defense are just going to be laughing at you. I would, however, and this is going to go against the grain because surprisingly, a lot of people online are saying, I wouldn't do this at all. I would actually start Marcus Callaway, the number 1 wide receiver technically for the Saints right now. Why? Because him and Jameis Winston had consistency in training camp. Him and Winston know each other. That's been the go-to guy. And yeah, they're going to cover him. And they got 2 really good corners on the Packers. But Winston is used to throwing to who he wants to get the ball. And he's going to throw it to Marcus Callaway. So needless to say, I would start Marcus Callaway because Marcus Callaway doesn't give you interceptions. Winston does. That's why you bench Winston, start Marcus Callaway. I, on the other hand, wouldn't go either, but because I have Marcus Callaway. But if you do have Marcus Callaway and you have nothing else to replace it with, that's where you go. Broncos and Giants. If you're the Broncos, don't start any of the quarterbacks just yet. If you're like, Drew Lock's my only one. You've locked yourself in a really bad situation, man. If you put Teddy Bridgewater as your number 1, you've still locked yourself into such a bad situation. But I would start Devontae Williams. But Andrew. Isn't there already a running back there named Melvin Gordon who actually is pretty proven to be good? Yeah. But Javonte Williams is fucking excellent. And Melvin Gordon is a little bit beat up. And whatever helps them win is going to be what they use. And I can tell you right now, the one thing that they're going to want to use this year is the running game when they don't have to pass. Even though I have a great receiving core and they have a great offensive line, they don't necessarily want it to be all about that. If they want to go the running route and establish that, I would start Javonte Williams just like the Trey Sermon situation. That's just me. The New York Giants, on the other hand, I would go with sitting Saquon Barkley. Too many question marks right now going into week 1 about is he going to play? Is he not going to play? I don't want to do this thing again and again because it's happened for now 2 years. And I'm sure Adam Padermo is watching and will say the same thing. After week 2, when he's fully healthy or when they clear him to be fully healthy, you put him in and you don't look back and he'll probably get you the points. More than likely get you the points. But just for week 1, I don't want you guys to get screwed up. I have taken him in a money league, the North Sports Dynasty League. He was there. I took him as my first running back. I knew the situation I was getting into. This is why I also drafted around that situation. He is not going to be starting for me on week 1, even though right now it shows that he is. And people are going to go in there and be like, what is Andrew doing? Especially the person I'm playing. just wouldn't start him. However, one person I would start here is Daniel Jones. They've given him every damn opportunity in this situation. Okay? They're giving him every damn opportunity. Giving him wide receivers. They're giving him tight ends. They drafted another wide receiver who is essentially their utility player. I love Kadarius Toney. The fact that I got him in that one trade is just like absolutely astounding, and I love it. But here's the thing. He can run. That adds value, guys. That extra 33 to 55 yards per game is another 3.3 to 5.5 points. That's value, man. Especially if he runs it in. That one that he fumbled before, okay, whatever. Or sorry, not that he fumbled there, he fell. Okay, whatever. He still got 7 somewhat points from that run alone. Okay? Start your boy Daniel Jones. Adam, I see you there. I would start Daniel Jones. I see a couple comments here. The don't trust OBJ. I saw that. You have to have Hill on your team, and Hardman should be a good pick if you can't get Hill. Oh, yeah, for Tyreek Hill, yeah. I agree. That's also kind of a given, though, as well. Same with the Kelsey one, but yeah. Did Brady call the play to Godwin that set up the field goal? Because he told Byron, no, we're not calling that. That's a good question. We'll get into that tomorrow night because now I'm going to add that to my list here of things to look up there, Christopher Cole. So, give me a second here. So Brady call on Godwin, no to Byron. Thank you for that, Christopher Cole. We're going to talk about that tomorrow night. I'm going to get into that after I'm done this. See, Adam said the same thing. I'm sitting Barkley, starting Mark Andrews or Tyson Williams. Ooh. Can Tony stay healthy? That's the thing. That's the reason I'm not putting him in my starter sit-ems right now. It's just the consistency that Daniel Jones will get after Kadarius Toney does become healthy. Going into the next game here, got Dolphins versus Patriots. For the sit-ems right now, Devontae Parker. I'm very high on Devontae Parker. He's helped me win leagues. He's always been like a secret, beauty spot for me because everybody will allow him to go to like the 7th and 8th round, even further at times. And it's just a stupid value. He's still a number 1 wide receiver. I am going to sit him though, because I am going to start Jalen Waddle. Jalen Waddle is not only supposed to be the number 1 wide receiver, he is a utility player and he is fucking fast, man. Like, damn. So yeah, that's I'm going to do that. I would do that. Same with the Patriots. I'm not starting any running back. I'm not doing it. I'm not starting any running back. I can't trust it yet. Same thing with the Bills and same thing with the Bucs. You can't trust any of the running back situations that exist currently in New England. However, if I am going to start somebody, I'm starting Jonnu Smith, man. I know they got Derrick Henry, and he's probably going to be maybe healthy for week 1. But I'm starting that Jonnu Smith, man. That's a smart situation and a smart thing to do. So I would just get that going. Put him in there. Mac Jones is probably just going to be looking for that quick little tight end slot or running back, but they got 4 different ones. So Bears and Rams. Do not, under any circumstance, obviously start Justin Fields because he's not going to do it, but also don't start Andy Dalton. Don't start any of the quarterbacks for the Bears. Please don't do that to yourself. If you have both, keep them on your bench and just wait to see what happens. That also being said, start David Montgomery. The underrated quite possibly could be the number 1 running back this year. Start David Montgomery. He can carry it 25 yards per game, and he's going to be their check down. He's going to see work. And if he stays healthy, like I said, he's probably going to be up there with like Derrick Henry and Dalvin Cook and all those guys. Underrated value here for David Montgomery. You start him. Rams? Don't start Darrell Henderson. I know. Just don't. Don't start Darrell Henderson. Wait and see what he's going to be, and then go from there. All right? I would, however, I'm saying start Matt Stafford. Matt Stafford could have a game like Dak Prescott did yesterday, man. Holy crap. I kid you not. And the reason I say that is I know a lot of people are hesitant on Matt Stafford. those same people were hesitant on Tom Brady for week 1. And look how many points I just got. I got from Tom Brady week 1. Let me go to the league here. I got 39.16 points. That's 40 points. That's a running quarterback game right there. Okay? There's value, especially with Stafford. He doesn't run, but the amount of yards that he's going to throw, just like Tom Brady, and the opportunities there, something you can't pass up on. Last game to talk about for the week there, the Ravens and the Raiders. As our good friend Adam said, Mark Andrews and Tyson Williams, I agree. If I am starting anybody on that team for 100%, give me Mark Andrews all day, every day. Overlooked in some of the league's drafts I've seen. Some people took him off of that tier base for top tight ends. I mean, Lamar Jackson, has he shown that he can throw to anybody else yet? Bateman's not going to play for a while. Sammy Watkins isn't necessarily what he used to be, but he's still really good, number 1. Still think it's Mark Andrews, guys. I would start him. Sitting there, though, I am sitting the running back core. I just want to wait and see what they're going to be. Obviously, it's not really great, and T's and P's to all the running backs there who aren't going to be able to see this season. Same with Marcus Peters. But I don't have trust in there yet, just because Lamar Jackson is probably thinking in his head, like, all the help that they gave me is either injured or not going to be able to play. I'm just going to have to do it myself. So just see the Ravens. You're probably going to see the Ravens do the same thing that they did before. With the Raiders, I wouldn't start also the running backs there because they got like 3 of them now, but essentially 2. It's another 2-headed monster. But if you have to, because you have Josh Jacobs as, in a dynasty league that you drafted 2 years ago to be your number 1 and you haven't been able to replace him yet, that's on you, first of all. You got to see the writings on the wall. But I understand, and it's scary, but if you can put him in your flex position and find 2 other substitutes, I would take that. The only person I'm really starting 100% on the Raiders is obviously the Walrus himself, Darren Waller. He's going to see most of Derek Carr's passes. Derek Carr could be a starter instantly as well, but I've gone through his mechanics again and seen some of the game logs. He's got great 40-point games, and then he'll go right down to like an 8-point game. And we can't have that when you're looking for championships. So those are my stardom and situms for the week. We will have Alex Loosemore on next week, and he will be doing the same thing with me as well. To give you guys all the information that you need for stardom and situms. That was NSD stardom and situms. One of these days, I'll actually have them written up and put them on Twitter for you guys on our NSD Twitter page. There we go. Which you can follow at Dynasty Sports or N Sports Dynasty on Twitter. Follow that for all the picks and stuff. Speaking of the picks are down there today. I got to go check on some of those in a bit. I'm not actually sure because my internet sucks. A couple of comments here before we are out today. Where were we here? Boom. Flex spot, what I mean, have Carson or Chubb in replace for Barkley. Exactly. If you can get one of those guys, even like Kareem Hunt at this point, or even say Carson was drafted around the same area that like David Montgomery was, if you could actually believe that. But yes, he's absolutely right. Just you got to replace him just for the week. And then after that, if he comes back healthy and you have, say, all 3 of those guys, you're fucking laughing, dude. There's a clip of Brady saying no. Okay, I'm going to check that out. I actually think I know what you're talking about now. I'm just going to get fully into that. We'll talk about that tomorrow night there, brother. Brady has the option to call off any play. They just got to the next play written up. That shouldn't be an issue. No, I don't think it should be an issue either. Quickly, guys, a lot of people have messaged me over the last few days and said, hey, we appreciate you doing the show. Can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? Should I start this guy? Should I bench this guy? Should I trade for this? What do you think of this trade? I have had so many messages that I never thought I would have. And you guys are absolutely, positively fucking amazing for that. And if I don't get to your guys' messages right away, when say I'm working and there's a few people who actually messaged me yesterday about some matchups and I didn't get back to them in time and I felt fucking horrible. Absolutely horrible. And it shouldn't make it. You guys are like, oh, Andrew, don't do that. No. First of all, I like it, because it drives me to be better. It drives me to have something written in the morning or before some of these major points for you guys. That's why Bucks Report has given me the opportunity to actually write some articles, which I'm going to try and get to this weekend, and try to give you guys a Tuesday update about some injuries, to who to start for the Buccaneers and the Lions, because here at Bucks Report now, because Alex Loosemore has done such a great job for the Bucks Report and for NSD, he is now, we respected his Lions here a little bit. We have won our championship. So if we're now cheering for, say, a really bad team to actually do good now, I think we've all kind of hopped on the Lions train for that, which I think nobody's going to have a problem with. And also their jerseys are really nice looking. I kind of want one. That being said, I appreciate every single one of you guys who has messaged me for advice. Same thing on the page itself. If you guys are really, really down for all this information, the bigger that this platform grows, the more me and Alex can do without, say, having, and not in a bad way, but work getting involved, right? Or, our lives. We can set up certain things, put a couple of hours away to it, and do it a little bit better. The bigger that this gets, man, the bigger this gets, the better it's going to be. I promise you guys that. Shout out to Alex Loosemore again. He couldn't be here this weekend. It's the first time I've done a show since I've had him by myself. He did one show. He did the draft special because I was out doing something. So we did the coverage, I think, of the first round, and then I had to leave to do a show. Yeah, that's what it was. So props to him. Great co-host. I couldn't have asked for a better co-host. Johnny Dean says hand you money. He'll get back to you faster. We don't want to take money, especially yet. I don't ever necessarily want to make money off of. I don't want to take the people's money. I would rather take a big corporation's money and use that to filter through to the people. I've always been like that. If I'm ever going to make the people pay for something from me, you're getting triple or quadruple more than anybody else is going to give you. You go to a comedy show, and shout out to Johnny B on Bucks Report. But up here, say you go to a comedy show and you pay $20. You don't like the comedy show. You've paid $20 for something that you don't like, right? For me, that's unacceptable. If you pay $20 to come see me at a comedy show and you leave unhappy, right? I wanted to at least go outside and say the smoke pit, smoke some herbal essences, or whatever it be, and talk to you guys. Maybe entertain you in different ways, right? I want people, if people are paying to see me, to be entertained by me, I want them to get their damn dollar value every single time. If they leave unhappy, that weighs on me. And I know people think, you shouldn't feel that way, Mr. Faubert. It's the way I've always been. I don't like upsetting people. I don't like making people pay for things and not get their full value for it. I've always been that because I don't think money is necessarily the best answer, but it helps. Obviously, we all know that. So thank you all. Honestly, I thank you all. I thank you all, and I thank you all. Christopher says, I don't message or talk to anyone during the Bucks game. Same. Unless, Bucks Report's doing a live show and we're all talking about it together, then that's different. Because I'm so intense that I can't. See, that's the thing. I was in my boxers, dude. I got so intense. I'm taking clothes off and sweating that I got down to my boxers at the end of the game. It's hilarious. What kind of different ways, Andrew? Sounds kinky. Oh, Johnny Dean, you know. So, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Saturday edition of North Sports Dynasty with me, giving you the updates about everything. We'll get into some more of the Dynasty or Keeper kind of stuff next year because obviously, I'm going to pick next week. Sorry, not next year. I'm obviously going to pick Dynasty, but we've had some people bring up Keeper leagues. And if that's another league that people want to do, then we'll get her going here and we'll get a bunch of you fans into it and we'll make it a thing. Much love to you guys. I don't hate the Bucks, but your secondary needs line 11. Ramona K, thank you for tuning in. We do need a little bit of help, but like I said on the show last night, instead of going out and grabbing Richard Sherman, I would rather, personally, my honest opinion, I would just rather base it on the rookies, let some of those guys come up, show off themselves, and then maybe go from there. Personal preference. I don't want to spend money outside of it. I want to breed it from within because that's always how you get the best product. Just my honest opinion. Johnny says, let's do it. fuck yeah. And fuck yeah to all you guys and gals for tuning in today. Thank you all. I love you guys so much. This is a great platform for me. I love this platform so much. You guys make it amazing. And it wouldn't be here without you, honestly. North Sports Dynasty wouldn't exist without you, the fans. It wouldn't exist without, fantasy football, obviously, but it wouldn't exist without you, the fans. And shout out to Bucks Report for having North Sports Dynasty as some of its content. With major shout out to them. Ramona Kid says Patrick Peterson would be a nice pickup. I also agree with that, but sadly, the Vikings got him before we could have got him. I said that at the beginning of the season too, and people laughed at me. And then the Vikings traded a little bit for him, and we're going to see what they can do this Sunday. So thank you all for tuning in. I will see you tomorrow, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 6:30 p.m. Mountain Time. That's my time, and we'll be talking about the Sunday matchup against the Atlanta Falcons, some other things that have happened across the league. Obviously, the Sunday matchups across the board on Sunday, and talking your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But for today, we were talking fantasy football here on North Sports Dynasty. Again, thank you all. I love you all. We'll talk to you next weekend. Take care now. Bye-bye then.